We live between 5 and 700 years on average. Death is usually painless and intentional.
What is childhood like on your home planet? And do you have family life, schools, playtime, hospitals, vaccinations, indoctrination, the kind of thing that we have, or totally different?
Because of our long lifespans, a person is not really considered mature until the age of approximately 70, in the equivalent of your Earth years. And in these experiences of childhood, we experience reality in very different ways. We retain a greater degree of self-awareness as compared to human children who have to develop this over time. We also come in innate with many of our psychic abilities and perceptions intact, with the ability to see multidimensional phenomena, including, as we've said, other concurrent experiences. And we do explore many things. Before that age of approximately 70 Earth years, it is required to explore at least 2 or 3 other planets and spend some time in the ships, though not all choose to be intergalactically oriented past that phase of youth.
Right, that was actually my next question is who is selected for duties on your spacecraft? Who stays at home?
Everyone has to gain the experience of interacting with the greater intergalactic community. And there are members of other worlds that also inhabit our planet or come to visit.
And how do you choose? I mean, we have careers and jobs and things like that. Do you have activities and that you choose and social roles? How do you choose that and how does that happen?
Through different phases of our lives, we play different roles. There are all sorts of roles that one can play. One could be a contact specialist reaching out to other species. One could be an explorer coming to see new developing planets or planets that have yet to express high degrees of intelligent life. There are many roles at home as well, so to speak. Beings in our world express a vast degree of arts and also, you could say, interdimensional studies. There is the study of the external world in terms of space, but there is also the study of the internal dimensions of experience that we are able to explore with our own consciousness. And there are centers dedicated to such forms of exploration. There are also many different forms of entertainment that are ways for individuals to express themselves and play a role in our world. Education is another similar experience. Some play the role of teachers. We all play that role in one way or another over the course of our lives.
So unlike our species who tend to specialize and then die early, with your long lifetimes, you do many, many different roles and you're expected to do a diversity of roles in your lives.
Yes, but there are, of course, specialists too. But we have not placed as much emphasis on specialization as we've come to recognize that in general, more beings are generalists.
And what about parenting and family? At what age are children kind of independent and what happens when they're very young?
Children are independent from very early on to some degree. There are ways of them to get around, and parents don't have to play much of a role in their schooling processes, though they absolutely spend time together in community.
Okay, I was just thinking how in our human world so much work, as we call it, is to do with our physiological needs: food, shelter, clothing. You have less of these physiological needs.
No, we only need to breathe, essentially.
So, I mean, for example, who builds buildings and things like that? Is that people, or is it machines or something?
Machines.
And the spacecraft are built by machines.
Correct.
Right. My next question is about how you have collective consciousness, and then what happens with things like leadership or diplomacy as you are a more collective form of consciousness.
Yes, we are able to share telepathically information with all beings in our world. That means when anyone gets the news, we all get the news quickly. And we also have a sort of collective emotional movement through decisions. And we feel it together and suddenly know what movement and direction our world is taking. There is not necessarily any political infrastructure or organization. There are many forms of bureaucracy that take care of things to keep the planet running, but they are not centralized. They function independently. And our collective is in touch with that galactic alliance while retaining our own autonomy in terms of how we direct our planet.
Right, that's quite amazing. So, as you are collective and telepathic, do you have rebels, people who are too individual or refuse to comply?
Why would they do that? Our experience is one of harmony, love, and bliss, and one is welcomed into the world with that energy and continues to live and vibrate at that energy. Lower frequency energies are not within our perspective. We literally do not have them in our blueprint. So we would not do something negative or become counter to the well-being of all.
So you don't have prisons or punishments, anything like that?
No.
So what about invasion from other species? How did you handle that in the past, and how do you handle that now?
We have very powerful shields that are much like a sort of energetic blockade, where certain regions of the galaxy can be hidden from the reaches of any being in a negative frequency. They cannot really do anything to us when these barriers are activated. In addition to this, there is nonetheless a vast weaponry that we possess that only serves as a symbol. Everything is maintained, but there's no need to use it. It is only to inform those violent such beings that exist in the galaxy that if we had to fight, we would. But they do not bother the Intergalactic Alliance.
Well, thank you. It's been some amazing information today, and we're now complete on this episode. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Thanks to you as well.
Ciao for now.
On the spaceship of Babel, we are gliding through the stars on a 5-year mission beyond Jupiter and Mars, a celestial encounter on a future Noah's Ark, and you won't hear us coming as we whisper in the dark. There's an Ewok close behind me as we try to disembark here. Obi-Wan Kenobi as we whisper whisper in the dark. Whisper in the dark. And the creatures from our planet are all with us in the hold. We all practice Ayurveda so we won't be growing old. As we speak our further minor with the strangeness of a quark, who will hear us on the phone as we whisper in the dark.